Well, what's going on, my friends? Good evening and welcome to the fifth quarter. I am your host, Chad Doing, along with my partner, Chris Burkhart. Your final score tonight from the American Airlines Center in Dallas. That's right. The Mavericks get the victory by a final score of 117 to 112. I like that little Stevie Wonder. Hey, Burkhart, you with us here?
You know, I apologize. I got so much going on. I'm trying to get things. I forgot to turn the darn Blazer feed off again.
That's okay. That's okay. Let's explain what we got going on. This is a big night. It's a big night, a lot of moving parts, and I credit Chris Burkhart for the effort, but we are live right now on YouTube for the very first time, and this is something that we're going to do between now and the rest of the season with the fifth quarter and other programming, but it gives everyone a chance to take a look at the show from the inside out. So you can see in the studio, you'll see me, you'll see Chris Burkhart as we talk Trailblazers with you. Now, if you want to jump on board, your telephone number is 503-248-0620. Telephone number 503-248-0620. Now, if you go to YouTube, you can pull up the Rip City Radio 620 page and be able to get to the live link right there. And you can watch the fifth quarter on YouTube if you'd like. If you're on Twitter, you can follow me there at Chad and Rip City. We have tweeted out a link to the YouTube page. So if you want to get a look at what we're doing, that's what's going on. So a lot of different things going on right now. But most importantly, we just want to connect with you and be able to talk some basketball. And tonight, the Trailblazers take the loss 117 to 112. And it's pretty simple why this game went the way it did. Luka Doncic. And before the game, we were talking about our keys to the game. We knew with his usage rate being off the charts that Luka was the key. You couldn't let him have an all-world game where he dominated the action, but he did. And tonight the Trailblazers missed having some extra size on the court in Yusuf Nurkic and Justice Winslow, who were out. And as a result, we saw what happened there in the second half, especially late in the game. Luka was able to get into the screen and roll game. They dictated the matchup they were looking for. And because of his unique size and ball handling ability, he was able to back guys down and get to his spots, create for himself, create for his teammates. And in the end, that was just too much for Portland. 42 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. A triple-double for Luka Doncic, who was an absolute freak tonight. A freak. But that's how good he is. Now, the good news is for Portland, even with the loss, they finish up the 6-game road trip at 4-2, which is spectacular. It's a terrific road trip, far exceeding my expectation. Going in, I thought, man, if they can just get to 3-3 and come back 500, that would be awesome. And they come back 4-2. They're now 9-4 in the year. They've got 3 home games coming up: San Antonio, Brooklyn, and Utah. So they're in a great spot to continue to win games and really push towards the end of November and finish out the first 6 weeks of the season with a very difficult stretch on the schedule with a very good record. I think the other good news tonight was just the further evidence that Jeremy Grant is super legit. And tonight, Grant, 39 minutes, 37 points. He shot the ball extremely well. He's proving to be a go-to guy. And on some nights, not just the second option, but a go-to option. I thought Dame, after missing some action as they were resting the calf a couple of nights ago in New Orleans, he didn't shoot the ball extremely well, but 29 points and 12 assists, and he got 17 free throw attempts. He was aggressive, he was setting his teammates up, and he played extremely well. They got 24 points, 7 rebounds from Ant, the big night from Jeremy Grant, and tonight, not as much off the bench, but you got to love what you see from the Trailblazers right now. I think they can learn a lot from this game and in terms of moving forward with how they want to continue to adjust and adapt defensively. But keep in mind with the road trip going 4-2 on these 6 games, with 2 in Phoenix, 1 in Miami, Charlotte, New Orleans, and Dallas, they were able to do a lot of that damage without some of their key guys in the lineup. But I can't help but wonder, how much would it have helped if they would have had Winslow in the lineup tonight? Because he's that big body with length who can defend multiple positions, and it would have been nice to have that extra body and that length, even heck, along with Nurk back there protecting the rim to deal with a guy with the size of Luka Doncic. So that's where we're at. Blazers fall 117 to 112, but they come back on the road trip with a sparkling record of 4-2. Let's go out to the phones. I want to hear from you. Haven't talked to Pat in Hermiston in a while, but if you want to jump on board, 503-248-0620. Pat joins us here on the fifth quarter. Pat, welcome to the fifth quarter. Fire away.
Hey, I want to thank me feel better since the game ended. I thought, I'm going to be happy if this team competes against Dallas. But what drove me nuts was that Chauncey left Anthony Simons. And tell me if I'm wrong, because I was just in and out on the radio listening. I didn't watch the game. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But, Luka hunted him. And it's like I'm screaming, get him out of there. Get anybody else in there. Maybe Chauncey's trying to help him have an opportunity to grow and show that he can defend. But, boy, that's where the game got out of reach was, either the teammates maybe didn't trust him enough and were hedging too much. Maybe we're just tired and the rotations were slow. I don't know. You did make me feel a lot better, though, pointing out a lot of the good stuff on the road trip. I just drove me nuts that Simons was in there. I mean, it didn't seem like he was lighting the place on fire on offense enough to make up for those open threes that resulted from Luka finding him. And that's all I called to say.
No, I understand. I understand your frustration, but it wasn't just Anthony that Doncic was taking advantage of. He was having his way with the entire team, and especially when he got in the screen and roll game and they were able to dictate some of the matchups with the switch and he was able to back guys down. Luka does that to a lot of different people. And in that spot where the Mavericks were scoring, the Blazers needed scoring options. And your three best scoring options tonight were Dame, Jeremy Grant, and Anthony Simons, who finished 5 of 11 from downtown, 24 points, 7 rebounds. But Luka is a lot to deal with. Let's go out to Ken. Kenny, what's up, my friend? Fire away.
Hey, good evening, Chad. This was a great road trip, and the big thing that I'm getting from this whole thing is a lot of people, before the season, would have thought, oh, Dallas is going to be so much better than us, blah 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 blah. I'm telling you, if we have Nurk and Winslow, even maybe just one of each of the guys, we win this game. That's with Doncic going off for his triple-double. I just saw so many missed rebounds, inside low, and we just didn't have a good enough presence. And Drew, he tried hard, but tonight I thought, did he seem like he was kind of double clutching on the offensive end a little bit, thinking?
Yeah, I think so. He was probably thinking a little bit too much out there.
Yeah, he didn't look like he normally does, where he's flowing, dunking, going up strong with his hook shot. It was like he was always thinking instead of – there was times when Dame would throw him the ball, and it was like he was just thinking. He wasn't paying attention or something. And, like I said, our best shooters didn't have a great night shooting the ball, except for Jeremy Grant, who was incredible, as you said. They were talking about him potentially being a future All-Star. I could definitely see that. Wow. And but I'm excited, Chad. I mean, you get Nurk and Winslow. Winslow would have been big in this game because Trendon Watford, he tried. Winslow's a dog. Winslow is just incredible on defense.
No, he is. He's a very good defender. He can defend multiple spots, and he's got that strength and a bigger body. He's really the type of body you want to have out there on a guy like Luka.
And he's great on rebounding inside. He's so built so good. He doesn't get pushed around like some of the other guys did tonight in down in the paint. But the effort was great, and this is exciting, Chad. They shouldn't have hold their heads down low, and hopefully the guys get back healthy soon for when they get home. Did you see, I think the Sharp thing's going to be a little bit lingering thing. Did you see after he made the layup, he immediately went to that pinky finger? And I know it is broken.
Yeah, it's that's going to take some time to deal with. And, obviously I'm not an NBA player, but you probably have done this before. I remember at times I had, jammed a finger or busted a finger up, trying to play basketball. And there were times where I'd tape my fingers. Usually it takes, some adjusting to. And there have been guys throughout their career. Kobe dealt with this a lot with getting his fingers dislocated or busted up. I think some adjustment time and getting used to it, and with some healing, I think you'll be okay. But yeah, it's pain. But the problem is it hurts. You got that constant lingering sting reminding you of what's going on.
Hey, no doubt about it. And but I think he could have been more of a factor tonight too. I thought they underutilized Nas's shooting. I'm not saying the rest of his game, but I wished when Dame was sitting out and Anthony was leading the offense, Nas was in there with him, and I thought, hey, some of you guys are not shooting as well. Let's get the ball let's set up Nas. So it's kind of a little bit of a coaching thing tonight. I thought they missed the boat on setting one of our hottest shooters up tonight. But, like I said, it's just kind of grasping at this or that, but I was proud of them. Thanks, Chad.
You got it. Yeah, there's no shame in that. Luka was an animal tonight. The Blazers didn't play their best or execute particularly well down the stretch, and as a result, they take the loss, but the road trip 4-2. All right, Chris Burkhardt is here. You and I talked about this before the game, buddy, where it was like you can't let Luka have one of those all-world games, and yet he had an all-world Luka-type game, 42 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists, and he was just a problem down the stretch, and I thought they did a very good job of getting him in the pick-and-roll game, and they were dictating some of the matchups late in the game where he'd get matched up on a smaller guy, and he's so big and strong that if he doesn't break you down off the bounce, he'll just back you down.
Yeah,
and play old man game on you.
Man, this was a Luka does what Luka does, right? And they threw a couple different looks at him. I think they're late. I was a little surprised. The game's close, and he had Ant on him. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to end well. Defense came over to help because he knew Ant couldn't get it done. He threw the ball out. I think Dinwiddie ended up hitting a three in that succession there where they hit 4 straight threes. But no, they let him get going, man. Change the game.
4-2 road trip. I really don't think you could ask for much more than that, Burkhardt.
No, that's why, this loss you can't be too upset with, right? Because you're coming home. You're playing with house money at that point, right? 3-3 was supposed to be a successful road trip. Come back with 4. That's a big deal.
So they're now 9-4. They went 4-2 on the 6-game road trip. Now 6-2 on the road on the year. And they come back home for 3 games, 3 winnable games. San Antonio, Brooklyn, and then Utah. And they have proper spacing, no back-to-backs in that sequence there. So you have a chance to grab, 2, maybe 3 more wins before the end of next week. And then you're sitting pretty with the chance to close out the month of November strong. So you're right. I don't. Some games when they drop, I'm a little bitter or irritated. But this is one of those games where, they were playing with house money at this point. So I like the way they competed during points of the game. But down the stretch, it was just too much Dallas, too much Luka. But some other things that jumped out that I thought were exciting. Turnovers were not an issue tonight.
Nope.
Jeremy Grant continuing to prove that he is so much more. Burkhardt, I liked his game before he got here, and I was happy that they were able to use that Milwaukee pick from 25 to get him, but I didn't realize that he was this much. He's so much better now that I see him in a Trailblazer uniform than I thought he was, and that's exciting to me. He's a money man.
Yeah, I wish I could say he's exactly what I thought he would be because I was very, very high on him. I was high on the trade, but he's doing better than I thought he would.
I know. I think my exact response was what? Jeremy Grant's going to be your prize catch? Like, really?
He's looking like it, right?
But the thing is, we knew what he would bring with his length and his defense, but if he continues to be a legitimate second or third option with the offense and continue to shoot at a high percentage and play with that fearlessness, think about the pressure that will take off of Dame
Big time.
and Ant, the 2 primary scorers.
Yeah.
Or at least, if one guy's got an off night. This is what I love about Dame's game tonight. He didn't play against New Orleans. He wasn't particularly sharp with his shooting touch tonight, but he had the 12 assists. He understood that and was looking to get other guys involved. I thought it was a pretty good floor game from Dame tonight, who played well, not great, didn't shoot the ball well, but found a way to get others involved. That's smart basketball by Dame.
Yeah, I think that's what you needed from him tonight. And it's another one of those games, Chad. I think it's one of those build off of it type games because you didn't win, but you fought hard. But you saw different ways that you can start attacking people. Now, if you get Ant to start hitting those shots, Hart gets going. Obviously, you have Nurk, you have Winslow. Dame is scoring and distributing like that. Like, I think that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So my theory about tonight, it's kind of a weird night to do fifth quarter. A lot of the Blazer fans are also Duck fans. And my guess is, after what happened tonight, most Duck fans don't want to even think about sports. Like, that's a brutal loss to the freaking Huskies. And the worst part is, you and I all day yesterday were like, Dwight, they're not going to lose to Washington. They're not going to lose to them. They're going to score too much. And now we're going to have to hear about how Dwight was right next week, too. I didn't think that Washington could get the job done. I'm stunned. Stunned.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was going to be the close game. It ended up being what we thought, right? We thought it was going to be a little higher scoring than that. Some weird coaching decisions, but it's one of the, like, you don't go for it on fourth in your own territory. That's one of those things. If he converts, he's a genius. Doesn't convert, changes the game. But I don't know. I've learned to just keep riding, baby. Keep riding.
All right, we'll come back on fifth quarter. Your telephone number, 503-248-0620. And we'll tell you about what we're doing tonight for the very first time. Chris Burkhardt putting it together. We are on YouTube, so if you want to jump on YouTube and check out the show, you can see Chris and I behind the scenes getting a chance to talk some basketball tonight. Mavericks get the win 117-112. Portland finishes up the 6-game road trip at 4-2. They're going to come back home now. They'll face the Spurs Tuesday night at Moda Center. That tip-off scheduled for 7 o'clock. It's the fifth quarter on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
I'll get you on hold for a commercial break, but as soon as we get back, Cal will get to you as soon as we can, all right? It'll be like everything else. Once I get in a flow, we're doing good, baby.
All right, fifth quarter, the Mavericks over the Trailblazers tonight, 117 to 112. And I'll tell you what, Burkhart, they took the loss tonight, and Luka was amazing with 42 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. But they were just a couple of shots away, or maybe Dame having a better shooting night from a 5-1 road trip. Like, they were that close. So I know a lot of Trailblazer fans get caught up in the moment with each game and get upset, but that was a productive road trip. And even tonight, I think you can learn a lot. And keep in mind, they didn't have Nurk or Justice Winslow on the floor. Clearly, Winslow could have helped, but I think they can learn a lot from that situation defensively. You know, where Chauncey will have more teaching moments, because late in the game when Luka got in that situation where it's like they spread the floor, he's looking to go one-on-one, draw the double and kick, like they can learn in those situations how to defend better, stay connected, and maybe not double so they don't leave certain guys open. Like, there's a lot of teaching moments. Like we said with Portland, they're doing so many things well. Defensively, they've been much better. Contesting shots, denying dribble penetration, protecting the corner, and doing a better job of staying home and getting out on the corner three-point shooters. But, you know, obviously they got to continue to work and get better and perfect their craft defensively. And as they do that, they're going to have more success. And tonight, Jeremy Grant led the way with 37 points. Shot the ball extremely well, 5 of 9 from downtown. He was the Blazers' meal ticket tonight, 6 rebounds and 2 assists. Dame tonight, 29 points, just 6 of 16 from the floor, 2 of 7 from 3. Was able to get to the foul line. He's been doing a great job this year of attacking. The officials obviously respect his game. 17 free throws tonight for Dame. He dished out 12 assists. So he was in the role of facilitator and playmaker. And Anthony Simons tonight with 24 points. Off the bench, no one in double figures, and no real difference maker off the bench tonight for the Trailblazers, but that's okay. 4-2 on the road trip, 9-4 in the year, 6-2 on the road overall, and they come back home for game Tuesday against the San Antonio Spurs. 503-248-0620. We're now on YouTube for the very first time, so if you want to check out the show from the inside out, I guess, Burkhart, the best way to direct people, you can follow the link that we've tweeted out at Rip City Radio, at Chad and Rip City, or just go to YouTube and go to the Rip City Radio 620 YouTube page, and the live link's right there.
Yeah, that's the drill. Go in there, subscribe, hit the little bell so you get alerts. Every time we go live, you'll get the little notification on your phone. But, yeah, just go follow us on Twitter right now, and you'll get the link.
All right, let's go out to the phones, 503-248-0620. Dallas gets the win tonight. Monster game for Luka, 42 points, triple-double. 503-248-0620. Portland 9-4 on the year. Next game will be at Moda Center Tuesday night against the Spurs. Let's go to Portland. Randy in Portland. Randy, you're up on the fifth quarter. The stage is yours. Fire away.
All right, everybody. It's Randy. I want to say 2 things here now. I want you to listen to me. Listen, and listen hard, as John Wayne used to say. First of all, the Blazers are for real. Real. Yeah, just like Randy. Okay? Some of you may remember me. The Blazers are for real. Don't get down. Don't get down. The long road trip, they did really well. Very good team. At home. End of the trip. I'm not making excuses because I know they're for real. They're doing it on both ends, okay? That's all I have to say. Just, ride the ups and downs. All right? Don't let Mr. Doing's emotions come after you and just sweep you away like a bad day at Nesquin. Don't let that happen. I'm telling you right now, do not let that happen. Okay? Now, I also want to talk to you about the fakes. The fakes. Woo-hoo! 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 There's the siren. There's the siren. Here it comes. Yeah, little ducklings. Oh, you put on your pretty little uniforms today. What happened? Oh, we're not going to lose to Washington. Washington, we're superior to them. We have all these 5 stars. They got a bunch of guys who I don't even know who they are. I never heard of them. We can't lose to them at home. Come on. It's not going to happen. When we beat Washington, we're going to move up to 4, and we're going to play the Natty. Oh, the Natty. What's the Natty? You guys have never even sniffed it. Never even sniffed it. Not even from your mama's kitchen can you sniff it. Go ahead, take take your dumb little uniforms, cash them on in, take down your little duckling flags, and ride with the Blazers. The Blazers are for real. Randy the Realist, and I am out.
There you go. Haven't heard from Randy the Realist in a long time. He's obviously trying to get us shot tonight. Appreciate that, Randy. Husky fan, potentially?
I don't know. These people, they're smart not to do that when I pick the phone up because I don't know if I get them on the phone, get them online, they're going to talk about my Ducks like that.
That's right. They know what to do. They sweet talk you then. Is that what you're saying? They get on the phone. They know the drill. Sweet talk Burkhardt.
All it takes is a little sweet talk.
And then once the red light goes on and I'm on the phone, then I can act like a crazy person.
Yeah, absolutely. Just real quick, Chad, right now, we're getting plenty of people commenting on the stream as it's going live. So, like WWE style chant, "This is awesome," right? Like,
that's right. Good
Yeah,
work. And we can communicate with you as well. So if you got any questions, any specifics, Blazer-wise, or anything that comes across your mind, just fire away. Ask the questions. We'll get to it and deal with it. But I think Chris and I are in the same boat. Like, I'm so thrilled with the way Portland has started the year that, they lost tonight. Luka was unbelievable, but I'm just excited about what the future is going to hold over the next few weeks because this coming week, you get a few games at home that are very winnable, but GP2 is going to make his debut.
big time.
And
That's
then
big time.
I think the biggest problem over the next couple of weeks is going to be in Chauncey's hands. How do I find minutes for all the guys that are deserving? But as he sorts through that, think about the different combinations that he can put out there on the floor. And then, heck, moving forward in the future, if you're playing Dallas and you got to deal with Luka, what if you've got access to GP2 and Justice Winslow and Jeremy Grant and Josh Hart and a slew of other guys who have been proven to be reliable defenders so far this year? That's the beauty of it, man, the versatility. And that's one thing this team has shown so far to start the year. Very versatile in terms of the different combinations that Chauncey can put out there.
Yeah, I think you look at the road trip and the different teams they've faced. I mean, Phoenix, Miami, Charlotte, today, and Dallas. These teams are all very different. And Chauncey's been able to attack them all and stay in these games. And what I like about this game, despite the loss, is the fact that, like other games, they fought back. They got down early, didn't roll over. They fought back. And you like that. That's a sign of a team that's going to go out there and fight every single night. Until about the last minute, they were in this one. So, yeah, it's a great effort from this team. I like what Chauncey's laying down.
Yeah, they didn't lie down at the end of a long road trip, which is critical. Your telephone number here, 503-248-0620, 503-248-0620. I mean, Jeremy Grant, in terms of all the things that have been surprising this year, his play, especially with the scoring and the production, that's got to be one of the biggest surprises with this unit. Maybe it's the defense or the improvements on defense. They were top 5 in defensive rating going into the game. But Grant's got to be right up there near the top of the list, right?
Has to be.
Has anyone been more surprising? I think Shaedon Sharp's, solid play as a 19-year-old early has been nice.
I think they're different, though. With Shaedon, you had no expectation, right? Like, he's a rookie. We haven't seen him play. What's he going to do? But he's been surprising, yes. With Jeremy, you had an expectation that I think he is by far surpassing. That has you very excited.
Yeah.
Because, 30-plus points tonight, couple game winners, no one really expected that.
No. Good production tonight. The big three tonight, of course, were Dame, Ant, and Jeremy Grant, who had 37 points. Off night for Josh Hart, 0 for 9, 36 minutes, 2 points. He finished with 9 rebounds and 3 assists. And that really goes back to what we were talking about earlier today and yesterday with Josh Hart. We love him, but the shooting inconsistencies with him, that's really the only downside to his game is when he gets hot, he'll have stretches where he shoots the ball well.
Yeah.
And then the off nights where you don't get the offensive production, but yet he's able to pepper the stat sheet and contribute in, a variety of different ways.
Yeah, you definitely like that shot to be a little more consistent. But everything else he does, I like so much that I can't be too upset with the way the shots fall.
All right, telephone number 503-248-0620. We'll come back, and we'll continue to get your reaction. The Trailblazers fall tonight, 117-112. They're back home on Tuesday. Spurs will be in town. 7 o'clock tip from Moda Center. We'll have game day starting at 4:30. Chris Burkhardt and Chad doing it's the fifth quarter here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, fifth quarter, Chad Doing and Chris Burkhart. We are on YouTube now. If you want to check it out, you can see the show from the inside out. We tweeted out the link. You can follow me on Twitter at Chad and Rip City or Rip City Radio. Also, if you go to YouTube and pull up Rip City Radio, you'll see the link for the live page, and you can check out the show. All the handiwork behind the scenes done by my man Chris Burkhart. Nice work, brother. You're killing it tonight. You're having a Jeremy Grant type night. You're on fire.
Well, thank you. Thank you. There's a lot of buttons to push now that you added YouTube to the plate.
No, it's so good. All right, let me get you up to date on the scoreboard with some of the games going on right now, and then we'll go back to the phones here on fifth quarter as the Mavericks take out the Trailblazers 117-112 thanks to Luka Doncic. Triple-double, 42 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists. Right now, fourth quarter down in Corvallis, Oregon State routing Cal 31-10. Oregon State looking to move to 7-3. Halftime at Utah. Utes on top of the Cardinal, 14-7. Second quarter down at the Rose Bowl, Arizona and number 12 UCLA tied up at 14. And earlier tonight, Washington defeats number 6 Oregon at Autzen by a final score of 37-34. Taking a look at the NBA scoreboard, some of the action around the association finals from earlier tonight. Nets over the Clips, 110-95. Kevin Durant, 27 points and 6 rebounds. Brooklyn 6-7. LA now 7-6. Brooklyn will be in town to face the Blazers on Thursday. Final in Washington, Wizards over the Utah Jazz, 121-112. Utah now 10-4. Washington 7-6. Porzingis 31 points and 10 rebounds. Celtics over the Pistons 117-108. The Pacers 118. The Raptors 104. 76ers top the Hawks in Philly 121-109. Embiid with 42 points and 10 rebounds. Miami 132. Charlotte 115. Max Strus with 31 points. And the Pelicans top the Rockets in New Orleans 119-106. Zion Williamson with 26 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists. Let's go out to Dan in Southeast. Dan, welcome to the fifth quarter, buddy.
Hey, man. Tough loss tonight, but like you've been saying, there's plenty of positive things. I feel like it's just pretty cool that this could have been our game to win. As you said, we were like right there at the end, and would have been great to come home with it as a W under our belt. But loss is taking loss. I thought Billups again did a really good job coaching. The big pieces missing from the lineup were, of course, Nurk and Winslow, but there were points in the second half where I was like, man, it would be nice to have Keon Johnson to put on the floor right now. I think that was it's funny to say it, but he's a part of the rotation now. Like, he's part of the picture. And of course, it gets me thinking how it's going to be when GP2 comes back, and we're able to use him in defensive situations, maybe as another body to throw at Luka. I thought it was really good that we got Jabari Walker some time. He looked really good. He just has a nose for the ball. And I was one of the guys at the beginning of the season that predicted wrongly that Jabari would get more minutes than Shaden, which obviously is not the case. But he is contributing. Like, I don't know that anybody, the 57th pick, shaping up already as one of the steals of last year's draft. And I think a underrated performance tonight was Eubanks. Coming into training camp, we're like, that's it for bigs. Like, Drew Eubanks is the backup to Nurk, who is going to miss time. I was skeptical, but he stayed out of foul trouble and gave him a lot of energy and body down low. And I think it's actually going to work out. I had my concerns about that, but he looks perfectly competent as a big in the Blazers system. So back home, hoping for more W's. Rip City, baby, we got it going.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think you hit on so many good things there. There's no doubt. Drew Eubanks can play basketball in the NBA. One of the most pleasant surprises so far this year. I thought having Eubanks be the primary backup to Nurk was insane, and I was wrong 100%. And I will be issuing a public apology to Eubanks and eating a plate of crow in the near future, and he deserves it. I mean, the guy's played his butt off, and again, he's not spectacular, but you don't need certain guys to be spectacular. Just go out there and do what the coaches are asking you to do. Be smart, be in the right place, and play with energy and toughness, and he does that. And I think Jabari Walker, look, I don't know how many minutes he'll get as the season continues, but, Burkhart, what I love about Jabari, energy, he's got good length, and like Dan said, a nose for the basketball, and he's had a chance to play a bit on this road trip. But, again, if you can get on the floor and make things happen with your length and your defense and your energy, and if you're on the floor for 8 minutes or 12 minutes and you're causing havoc with that energy, the coaches will find a way to get you on the floor. But he's got a good attitude, too. Like we heard from the other night when he got the extended time, I think it was in Charlotte. He was happy to be out there. But this is a guy that has got the NBA pedigree because he grew up in a household where his dad was an NBA player. Like, he, like Shaedon, he doesn't appear to be too timid or shy out there on the floor. And I like that in a young guy. He's got balls.
You know what I like most about it is that where he shows that aggressiveness is on the defensive side of the ball. You can teach, you can't teach a bad defender to be a good defender. You can teach a guy who can't shoot how to shoot. But defense, guys either have that or they don't, and it's so hard to teach it to someone who doesn't. And the fact that he has a motor on that end, I think is very, very big for him getting on the court.
503-248-0620 is your telephone number. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Again, Mavericks get the win tonight, 117-112. But if you look at the big picture, there's no need to worry about the loss tonight. You're not going to win every night in the NBA. You look at road trips as a whole. On the 6-game road trip, the rule of thumb in the NBA is if you can go 500 or better, then you come back feeling pretty good about yourself. They took 4 of 6 on a difficult road trip with 2 against Phoenix, Miami, Charlotte, New Orleans, and Dallas. And they took 4 of those games. You can't ask for anything more than that. And now they come back home at 9-4. They're in one of the most difficult stretches of their schedule to start the year. And it will continue like that through the month of November. But they position themselves to come out of November in a great spot and with confidence. And now I think Chauncey, with the games that have been played, he's getting a better feel for what he's got in the roster, what guys he can use in certain situations, and he'll continue to get a feel for that once GP2 makes his debut next week, which could be potentially Tuesday against San Antonio, maybe Thursday against Brooklyn. But, and I think most importantly, is listen to the guys and the way they talk. The guys are all saying the same things, multiple players. We got a group of dogs. You hear the word dogs used constantly. You also hear the guys talking about defense and how we've got to be better defensively. We've got to commit to playing better defense. Our growth and our success will be determined by our defense. Like, Chauncey's got the guy's ears, and that's, a mark of a good coach. And as Burkhart's mentioned on multiple occasions, it's always nice when those guys start to take on the personality of their coach, and we're seeing that. And offensively, the distribution, more guys getting involved. More guys are getting touches. Dame's becoming more of a willing passer, and that's good. Let's go out to Muhammad, who's bumping around in Portland. Muhammad, welcome to the fifth quarter. What's up?
What's up, man? How you guys doing?
Oh, very well. What's your takeaway on what you saw tonight and the 4-2 road trip for the Blazers?
I was kind of disappointed because, the Utah Jazz took a loss, and I feel like because they're having such a great season, not a lot of people are giving Portland the credit they deserve. When we see, our schedules and when we compare ourselves to the Jazz, I think we've had a lot more impressive wins than the Jazz have had, and I think we should get a lot more credit as one of the teams that have a real opportunity of coming out in the West. So I'm really impressed. It's unfortunate that Nurk's been out, but I'm just kind of disappointed that we're not in the first seed going back to Portland with a pretty easy homestand, in my opinion.
Well, the good news is, Muhammad, think of it like this. Portland is like, a half game back? They get a chance to play Utah a week from tonight at Moda Center. So the best way to earn respect is to go out there and drop the hammer on them, and they'll get a chance to do that.
Yeah, I just hope we can get that first seed because what I've been looking at is in the past seasons, usually the team in the West that does hold on to the first seed around the All-Star break does get a few All-Stars, and I'm not sure the last time Portland's had 2 All-Stars in the All-Star game, Well,
that's a good question. I got to think about that for a moment. Good phone call, Mohammed. Chris Burkhardt, off the top of your head, were Dame and I don't know if it's happened. Were Dame and LaMarcus ever in the All-Star game together, or has it always been like 1-1? I think that was before Dame was in the All-Star game. Those first couple of years.
Let me get back to you.
I think the last time, I'll have to look it up. I do know that Terry and Clyde were in the All-Star game together. It's a good question. 2 All-Stars. Jeremy Grant right now is playing like an All-Star. And we don't have to worry about the number 1 seed right now. There's plenty of time to worry about that with over 70 games. How many games we got left now? So they played 13 games with, 69 games left in the season. We got plenty of time to worry about who's going to be the top seed in the Western Conference. I think right now you just continue to worry about development, paying attention to, the cues from the coach, improvement on defense, continued effort to get better distribution on offense, and that will come with time. Don't have to rush it.
No, and the answer is yes. 2014, they were on the All-Star game.
So both
together.
Dame and LaMarcus.
Yep.
All right, so there you go, Mohammed. 2014, Dame and LaMarcus both on the Western Conference All-Star team. But Jeremy Grant, if you'd have told me before the year, hey, Chad, I'm calling my shot right now. I think Jeremy Grant's going to be an all-star. I would have been like, I think you're crazy, my friend. But he's playing all-star type basketball right now. I did see, too, I understand what Mohammed's talking about the Blazers not getting respect. I saw Bleacher Report. I'm pretty sure it was Bleacher Report. They released their power rankings for the week in the NBA. Portland was number 10. And it's like, come on. Portland to start the year has been one of the best teams in the NBA, one of the top teams in the Western Conference. So if you're going to put out power rankings, make sure that you don't overlook one of the teams that's playing as well as anyone, especially when, as I mentioned before, this 9-4 start is not fake. It's real because of the schedule they played. They've beaten a number of good teams. Phoenix twice. They took out Denver. They won at Miami. What they're doing is legit because of the schedule they played. It's not like they opened up the year with some type of, soft spot in the schedule. Not only good teams, but they just completed a 6-game road trip against good teams. And their record reflects the type of basketball they played so far. So they'll get it. I mean, you know how it goes. You just keep winning games. You want respect. You want people to take notice. Just keep winning basketball games. And the good thing for Dame, who would love to be an MVP and would love to see it, right? You keep playing like this, where the team's massively improved defensively, and you keep winning games, you're one of the top seeds or top teams in the Western Conference throughout the year, and you surprise the heck out of everyone, your name will be right up there in MVP conversation, which is great. All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the 5th quarter. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number if you want to jump on board. The shocker of the day took place down at Autzen with the Huskies topping the Ducks 37-34. Wow. Second loss on the year for Oregon. They will play Utah at Autzen next Saturday. And the Beavers right now looking to go 7-3, a big lead on Cal down at Reser. Final score tonight from Dallas Mavericks 117, Blazers 112. You got the 5th quarter on your home of the Blazers 620, Rip City Radio.
It's time for the Portland Trailblazers Drive of the Night here on the fifth quarter, hosted by Chad Dewing, 620 Rip City Radio. Drive of the Night is brought to you by Dick's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Wilsonville, ready to compete with the lowest prices in town.
Simons to Dame at center court, defended by Bullock. He backs off and Hardaway picks him up. Left-hand dribble, puts a jab step on him. Now crossover. Now Dame drives, ball fake, right hand, banks it in. Blazers lead 103-101.
All right, fifth quarter, Chad Dewing and Chris Burkhart with you as the Mavericks top the Trailblazers by a final score of 117-112. I want to take a look at the upcoming schedule and give you an idea of what's coming up for the Trailblazers, who finish out the six-game road trip at 4-2. They're now 6-2 on the road this season, which is terrific. And they've got a chance to close out this difficult month of November in a great spot. So after the road trip, the conclusion tonight in Dallas, they come home. They've got San Antonio on Tuesday, Brooklyn on Thursday, and Utah on Saturday. All three of those games at Moda Center. Each of those games will tip off at 7 o'clock. After the game against Utah next Saturday, they take off on a 4-game East Coast swing. Tough games. At Milwaukee, at Cleveland. Then they'll play Friday the 25th in New York against the Knicks. Sunday the 27th against Brooklyn. Then they're back home to face the Clippers on the 29th, and they close out the month of November in L.A. against the Lakers. So that's what's left. And as I've said all along, with the difficult start to the schedule through the month of November, if they can close out the month sitting there at 16-6, 15-7, or 14-8, well, that is sensational. And then they put themselves in a prime spot as they enter into an easier stretch of the schedule to continue to pile up wins. And the reason why you want to do that right now, if you're Portland, they're playing extremely well. Some of the other teams that we expected to be at the top of the conference are struggling right now. Pile up wins and then put yourself in a position to be in a great spot as you get towards the mid part of the season and heading into the stretch run. Now, we did have a question on YouTube, and we have some people that want us to talk about the youth. I think that's been one of the bright spots on the team so far this year. Obviously, the two rookies that we've talked about already tonight. It starts with Shaedon Sharpe, who they drafted at number 7 in this past year's NBA draft. The part that excites me most about Shaedon Sharpe, most of the people in town who cover the team did not think he would play and get a ton of minutes. I thought that was insanity. I thought if you're going to draft a guy like that instead of trading for a forward, you've got to get him up to speed and develop him as quickly as possible to see what you have. And the faster you ramp up his development, he can be a key contributor and help Dame. Well, he's gotten consistent minutes to start the year. He looks incredibly calm on the floor. And I've noticed with his offensive game, Chris, he's got the mechanics. He's not rushed when he's on the floor. He can put the ball on the floor and attack the rim. And defensively with his athleticism, the shot blocking and being in the right spot and keeping his guy in front of him. He's got some of the basics down. And the coaches are going to continue to play him. So he's showing flashes right now, and that excites me about what he's got moving forward.
How could you not be? How could you not be excited? He's fun to watch. But to that point, man, the youth, him, Jabari, Keon, right? Ant is obviously young. I mean, Jeremy Grant is like the third oldest guy on the team. He's 28. And that's still young, right in his prime, man.
But here's the advantage of having young guys. All the guys you just mentioned on the roster, whether it's Trent Watford or it's Ant or it's Nasir or Jabari, whoever, take your pick. The difference with this coaching staff compared to what we had with Terry Stotts and his crew is that this staff is more willing to play a variety of different players. Most veteran coaches, they trust their vets. They don't like to play young players because they don't want to risk losing games and put their livelihood at risk. Well, Chauncey's going to play the young guys. And what he does with the young guys that I think is very helpful is that he doesn't complicate matters. Look at what he did last year with Ant. He said, look, I need you to go out there and be in attack mode. You're one of our guys. You need to go out there and attack and look to score. and we'll work on the rest. And so he did that, and Ant kept it simple when he was on the floor, and look what he did. He started to take off and showcase his offensive capabilities. With Nasir last year, he said, you're my energy guy off the bench. When you get in the game, I need you to get after it defensively, hustle, and create opportunities with your energy and your defense. And he did that. And he continued to do that up until the shoulder injury. And I think he's doing the same things with the young players this year. Keep it simple, give them a couple of things to focus on, and then all the other details, he'll continue to coach them up and work with that over time, but he doesn't give them too much to think about. And then what happens is when you're not thinking and you're just reacting and using your athleticism, I think that's when guys excel, especially the younger players who can rely on their athleticism and what they do best instead of thinking too much. Because as soon as you think, you're dead.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Well, I've said this about this team for a while now, Chad, and I hope this early season success doesn't change the approach that they're taking. But this team has zero expectation, right? And that's a good thing because it allows them to go out there, just play, make their mistakes. What happens, happens. Look at a team like the Lakers, right? Expectations through the roof when you have those guys on your roster, AD and LeBron. They come out, they're 2-10 to start the season. The sky is falling. What the heck are they going to do? And now it's almost going to be impossible to get out from just the expectation you put on yourself. Portland, no expectation. And what the result is just fun basketball. Guys just going out there, like you just said, just playing, not afraid to make mistakes, just go and do what they know how to do.
Yeah. And when you play loose like that and you play hard, then you see the type of play we've seen so far. And the best part I can say about those young guys, too, here's the other thing that young guys do. They add a lot of atmosphere to the practices. So when you get, and that's what I like about the composition of the Trailblazers rosters, you've got your established vets, the big money guys like Dame and Jeremy Grant now. You could throw Nurk into that category. Like, you've got those guys, but then you've got your young players and your journeyman guys like Winslow and Eubanks. So in the practice, you got the young guys who are fighting hard, they're scrapping, and they're trying to place a demand on the coaches to give them playing time. You've got other guys like Eubanks and Winslow who are trying to really secure their spot in the NBA, so they're going to play hard, and that creates better competition, throughout the roster. And it brings that competition out in practice so that you can make these guys better. Guys want to practice. You want to practice and play hard and practice against guys who are good and scrap because it's going to make you better on the floor. And usually guys who, when they get time in games, it's because they're doing things in practice that's jumping out to the coaches. So I'm excited to see what, the next few weeks holds. But GP2, baby, we've heard about it. We've been waiting for it. But, man, that guy, all the things that we've heard the guys talk about, defense, scrap, dogs, like that's what GP2 is. And you made a great point earlier today. And you think that GP2 could very well be the quarterback for Chauncey when it comes to defense, right? In terms of directing traffic and barking at guys on where they need to be because he understands that side of the floor so well.
I think he understands that side of the floor better than anybody on the roster, myself. Yeah. Everyone talks about his on-ball defense. I think that's great. Maybe it's going to be hard to replicate that success here versus what he did in Golden State. But one thing he's been good at since day one is just verbalizing what to do on that side of the ball. So he's going to get Hart. He's going to get Winslow. He's going to get Nurk. He's going to get these guys in the right spots at the right time. I think it's going to pay dividends for them to have him on the floor.
All right. That's going to do it for us. Our next Blazer broadcast is going to come up on Tuesday. Game day will start at 4:30. Chris and I will be here. Tip-off against the Spurs at 7. And, of course, we'll be back after the game with fifth quarter. And make sure you join us on YouTube because we'll be back not just on the radio but on YouTube so you can take a look at us. And we appreciate you joining us tonight. Your final score from the American Airlines Center in Big D. The Mavericks top the Trailblazers 117-112. For Chris Burkhardt, I'm Chad Doing. Have a good night, my friends. We'll talk to you next week.